Good afternoon. We're back. Let's get our pinned message up on the chat. Okay. Got the coffee. Got the code. We're ready to rock and roll. Hey, what's up, Butterscotch? Hello, Suhas. Hope you guys are having a good day. Alright. I was frozen there for a second, wasn't I? Also, I need a little bit more light in here. It's been kind of a gloomy... Yeah, Cam looks dark. Yeah, I need a little bit more light, I think. Also, I need to turn off that light behind me because it flickers. There we go. Now I'm going to open up another window. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm good too, man. Having myself a fine Thursday. All right, that might be as light as I get it without turning on the orange overhead light, which I'm not a big fan of. Yeah, Suos, yep, we're going to work on some AI today. For sure, for sure. We're actually going to, I think, work on starting to do some evaluations of our small little GPT model. But first, I need to actually get the book open. You should get some diffuse light to light up your face. Yeah, I really should have our living room just has like 2 overhead lights. One of them's not very bright. One of them's way too bright. And then we have one light that's back there in the corner, but they all give off kind of an orangey hue. So if I can use the daylight, I prefer to use the daylight. But you're 100% right. I should have some sort of key light or something. Maybe one of these days when streaming makes me some money, I'll reinvest into my setup. Suhas, before that, you can Google perceptrons and multi-layered perceptron. I mean, I can Google it, but I doubt I'm going to be able to understand it. One sec. All right, what are we doing? What did you say? Perceptrons? Let's see. Perceptrons is a fundamental building block of artificial neural networks, acting as a simplified model of a biological neuron. It takes multiple inputs, each multiplied by a corresponding weight, sums these weighted inputs, and then applies an activation function to produce a single binary output. Like, this is the problem with not knowing this field. Is like, I read that paragraph. I'm not sure I really comprehended it. So, and then, so if I have a job, I would give you enough money for a light. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I definitely could afford to buy a key light. It's more of a question of, do I want to put more money into my tech equipment at the moment? It's more of a value prop thing, right? It's like, how important is perfect lighting to me? All right. Okay, so we Googled perceptrons. Suas, I hope that made you happy. I honestly don't know where to go with it, but I'm glad I understand that a perceptron is like it's like a simplified model of a biological neuron. Now we're gonna go back to the book because I'd really like to finish this book. It's taken me way too many months to get here to get this finished. Been trying to do too many things at once, I think. All right, so this is where we're at. The model isn't yet producing coherent text, but it hasn't undergone training. To define what makes text coherent or high quality, we have to implement a numerical method to evaluate the generated content. Next, we will calculate a loss metric. Okay, that's where we left off, was calculating the loss metric. Hey, what's up, Tax? How are you, man? I'm so sorry I burnt your waffles. That wasn't very thoughtful of me. Yeah, you shouldn't burn people's waffles, man. Butterscotch. Instead of typing explore in the start menu, you can type it in the terminal. Usually I use a launcher, but sometimes I hit the Windows key. But most of the time I use there's a set of tools for Windows machines called PowerToys. And usually I use there's a tool in PowerToys called, what's it called? It's called Power Launcher, I think. That's typically what I use to launch things. But yes, I do know that you can call terminal from, or you can call Explorer from the terminal. I'm not perfect with always using the most efficient command. But you can see, like, in my history, right? It is something I do quite often. Dax, how you been, man? Getting to the gym lately? Oh yeah, man, I'm doing well. I'm healthy, kids are healthy, wife's healthy. The rest is icing on the cake. Getting to the gym, yeah, every day. Which is one of the huge benefits of having a home gym. It's like, logistically, there is really no excuse for me never to make it to the gym. I can go to the gym whenever I want, as many times during the day as I want. So else, I used to love PowerToys back in my Windows days. I don't know how anybody used Windows computers without PowerToys. I'm living for the day that PowerToys becomes like baked in to into Windows, which I think it will eventually, but it's not. I guess not quite there yet. Butterscotch, we go gym. Yes, we go gym. We go gym now. Actually, let's just shut off the stream and let's go to the gym. I'm just gonna go to the gym now. Just kidding. I went to turn on a light. We're not going to the gym now. We already went to the gym earlier. I turned on the orangey light, so now I'm gonna have a little bit of a red hue to me. So apologize for my Oompa Loompa appearance. Raycast is coming to Windows. Is Raycast like Alfred for Windows? Yeah. So I guess Raycast is a Alfred alternative. I'm very familiar with Alfred. I was a paid user for Alfred for a really long time. But yeah, if Raycast comes to Windows, count me in. At least I'll try it. I'll give it a go. But man, I really do like Power Toys. The command palette in Power Toys is peak. Suos. Donald Trump appearance? Yes, indeed. Yeah, I don't think there's anything I can do about it either. I wonder if there's like is there like a filter I can probably apply to my camera? Maybe I can. Yeah, I don't know. I'm afraid to screw things up. I'm sure OBS has some way to like change the. But I don't know. I don't. Oh goodness, I've done it now. There went the camera. Suos, I'm so close to getting a six pack. I can feel it. That's awesome, dude. I've never had a six pack in my life, so that's awesome, man. Discipline. Oh, there we go. So I can do cameras, filters. Excuse me. Oh, color correction. There we go. Oh, goodness. That's not the right slider. Now I'm green. Oh, goodness. What have I done? Hey, what's up, Ducties? How are you? You doing well? I'm currently trying to make myself look less orange. So bear with me. Nope, don't want saturation. That's a bad idea. Suos, I am a bit insecure about my height. Oh man, don't be insecure about your height. I'm 5'9". Maybe 5'10" on a good day. Everyone has their own physical appearance. You know what I mean? Wouldn't let it bother you. Yeah, I'm 5'9" too, man. Yeah, I think 5'9" is pretty average for males. Oh goodness, what am I doing? Oh goodness, now I've done it. Oh, you know what? Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm really red now, aren't I? For some reason my mouse is not working anymore. I have no idea why. Like my mouse literally has just stopped working. All right. Well, we may have to All right, that was the music. There we go. I don't know. For some reason, the last couple days, Edge sometimes makes my uh mouse like stop working. I'm not sure why it stops working. All right. We gotta start the browser again. Get the music running. Sorry for the sorry for the vibes and the chaoticness of the beginning of the stream here. Okay. Let's get focused for a second. All right, I see I missed some messages in chat here. All right. MJ Yara, what book you are following? The book I'm following is called Building a Large Language Model from Scratch. You can actually get it in this, I'm gonna say, What Bro Doing, and that's gonna print a link for the book if you're interested. Siddharth, are these transformers what you think best thing to do for entry level AI? Yes, I am learning about transformers. That's currently what I'm trying to learn about. What you think best thing to do for entry level AI? Do you mean, Siddharth? Do you mean where to start in terms of like using AI or learning about AI, particularly like generative AI? I mean, I think like the first step is you got to start using it, like be a user of LLMs, right? So like interact with Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini. Then maybe step number 2 is like try to build some stuff with them, right? So try to build some stuff with Anthropic's API or try to build some stuff with Google's API. And then I think step 3 is kind of where I'm at, where I'm trying to go a layer below that, where I'm trying to actually understand what are the underpinnings of the models, right? That might be the next step. And if you've already done those things I talked about, you might be further along than I am. Ducties, try unplugging it and plugging it back in. Well, it's a wireless Bluetooth mouse. I'm not sure what the situation is, but randomly when I've had the issue happen, if I close Edge, the mouse can then click on things again. So I'm not 100% certain what I've done. Arkin, hello Arkin. Suhas, did you ban Network Bib? I did kick Network Bib from the Discord. Yes, I did. MJ, thank you, Steven. Of course, man. Yeah, hopefully that link will help you find the book. It's also on Amazon, but I think Manning is actually selling it cheaper right now than Amazon is, almost like half the price. Suas from YT. I did, and I also hit him from the channel on YT. Mainly just because I don't know. I didn't find him a very enjoyable person in the community myself. MJ, Transformer is the best place to start with large model. Okay, good. I will take all the advice I can get on learning about the lower level inner workings of machine learning and data. I don't know. I'm not from that field. I haven't really done anything in that field, so I'm completely a noob when it comes to this stuff. So if you guys have advice or feedback, it's more than welcome. Siddharth, yes. Gen AI using it because they're builder and user perspective. Got it. I'm early in the journey. Yes, I'm early in the journey too, Siddharth. So I'm with you. I'm with you. We're all learning, you know. Osvaldo, hola, que es? I should know how to speak Spanish. My grandmother was from Honduras, so I'm kind of a failure, but I'm not sure what does that mean. what are you doing? Oh, what I am doing, Osvaldo, is I'm assuming you can understand English, is I am reading a book and then writing some code that goes along with that book to understand how to architect a model, then train and evaluate that model, and then I think the next step in the book is I'm going to learn about fine-tuning existing models. Whenever I stream, my dog gets very anxious about it for some reason. All right, so where were we? What were we doing? Okay, so we're at the point, just to kind of recap if you guys haven't been following along with previous streams, but we're at a place where we basically have a model. We have a model that's architected. So let me go ahead and go to that. So we have this GPT model that takes in some configuration, but at the very like simplicity of it, it can take an input, feed forward, and then put out the logics or the output of the model. And now we're kind of learning about how to take that model, evaluate it for quality, and then I'm assuming we're going to figure out how to go about actually training the model. So as you can see, if I run this code, let me get a new tab here, you'll see that my model is very stupid at the moment. It's a very dumb model. Let's see, if I do Python chapter 5 main, you're going to see I am able to give it some context, but you'll see when it completes the context. So here's the context that went in, right? And then here's what it gave back as like just a bunch of gibberish. So what we're going to learn now is kind of how to fix that, how to make that better. So let's do some learning, eh? I sound like a Canadian, eh? Suos, did you get the model from scratch? Yeah, well, I should say, did I code the model from scratch? No, I followed the code in the book to arrive at the architect and model. So it's someone else's code that I've just typed again, basically. Osvaldo, yeah, I'm practicing my English listening to native people. Oh, awesome, very cool. That sounds like a wonderful way and a very fun way to practice English. All right, back to the book now. Okay, so our GPT model works with a much larger vocabulary consisting of 50,000 words. Hence, the token IDs in the following code will range from 0 to 50,000 rather than 0 to 6. In the following hands-on code example that implements the steps in the figure, we will work with 2 input examples for the GPT model. Consider these 2 input examples which have already been mapped to token IDs. Matching these inputs, the targets contain the token IDs we want the model to produce. Yeah, because the window is sliding, right? So this is going to be the inputs, or the tokens for this particular input. And then these are our target IDs. Because our window is going to slide 1 to predict the next token. Note that the targets are inputs, but shifted 1 position forward, a concept we covered in Chapter 2 during the implementation of the data loader. Yes, we did cover that in Chapter 2. This shifting strategy is crucial for teaching the model to predict the next token in a sequence. Now we feed the inputs into the model to calculate the logits vectors for the 2 input examples. Then we apply the softmax function to transform these into probability scores. Yep. Bat size, embedding dimensionality. Okay. Given that we have 2 input batches, each containing 3 tokens, applying the argmax function to the probability scores yields 2 sets of outputs, each with 3 predicted token IDs. Yeah, they are very different from the target. Yeah, very different. Suhas, I mean training. I haven't done any training on the model, so I think that's what we're trying to get to at the moment. Butterscotch, have you tried increasing the number of layers? I haven't done anything with the config. The config is exactly what's in the book, but I'm guessing as I go through this process of like learning how to set up the evaluation and the training loop, I'm gonna figure that out. Suhas, did you use any GPU? I don't have a GPU on this machine, so I hope they're not gonna have me use a GPU, because then I'll have to figure something else out. I guess I'll have to go to a Colab notebook or something. Suhas, custom data set. The data set is just a text file at the moment. At least that's what my vocabulary is based on. So the model produces random text that is different from the target text because it has not been trained yet. So that's where we're at. We now want to evaluate the performance of the model's generated text numerically via a loss. Part of the text evaluation process that we implement, as shown in figure 5.5, is to measure how far the generated tokens are from the correct predictions. The training function we implement later will use this information to adjust the model weights to generate text that is more similar to the target text. Okay, for each of the 2 input texts, we can print the initial softmax probability scores corresponding to the target tokens. All right, I need to go back. I need to write some of this code. Let's see. What do we want to do? We want to do. We're basically here at the moment. So let's do. We need to start here. We need to get the inputs and the targets. So I'm gonna take the book off screen so I can reference it while I type. Suhas, how low level is this book taking you? Are you implementing back propagation? I don't think I've implemented back propagation. I think a lot of it's stuff that's coming from, we're relying on PyTorch for a lot of the, I think, low level stuff. But I could be wrong. Inputs equals torch dot tensor. All right, what are the numbers here? 16833 3626 6100 40 11 588. Why is it unhappy with me? Because these should be wrapped in brackets as well. Why is it still angry? It's not angry anymore. It's just slow to update. Okay, targets equal torch dot tensor. Are those the right ones? Those are not the right ones. This should be 345, and this should be 1311. Okay. And then we'll do width, and we'll say logits equals model, and our inputs, and we'll say probabilities. Yep, and then we'll print that. We'll print the shape of it. Python.main. Hey, what's up, Nikki? It's a long time no see. Your disappearance was very shady, and now your reappearance is even more suspicious. Suhas, I personally want to go lower level. Oh yeah, dude, go for it. I think you should go as low as you want to go, you know? I think I always try to follow Scott Hanselman's advice, which is whatever level you feel comfortable at, try to go one layer below that, right? That's, I think, a good guiding principle or good advice to follow. Yeah, Nikki was here and then he was gone. Now he's back. Although Nikki, I never really understood what happened or what transpired there. There seemed like maybe there was some, I don't know. Did your Discord get hacked or something? I'm not sure exactly what was going on there. There were some messages that you were sending to some other people in our Discord that were kind of odd. Oh, life just went south. All my accounts got hacked, and yeah, list goes on. Yeah, okay, well, that explains it. We wondered if your account maybe got hacked. So, well, hopefully you're doing better, man. Hopefully you're on the upswing. All right, let's try this now. See what we get. Yeah, try to avoid getting hacked for sure. We should all try to avoid getting hacked. All right, so we can see we are way off our target. Way off our target. We need to do some quality assurance, huh? No, we need to do some evaluations. I feel like in the AI space, testing is really a bad term. It's more about evaluating, right? You're like evaluating and then making adjustments, then reevaluating. It's very different than testing in traditional software development, right? Because you're going from like a deterministic model to a probabilistic model. Sorry, hold on. I gotta answer a text here. Right. Suhas, what are you drinking? It's a latte. Well, actually, it's like a poor man's latte. It's like a mocha pot shot of espresso, which, if you know what a mocha pot is, my espresso machine died and I haven't replaced it. So I'm using a mocha pot right now to make espresso, and it's so-so. It's not quite as good, but it's basically a shot from the mocha pot with some Fairlife milk. That's basically it. Butterscotch life potion. Yes, let's call it that. That sounds way cooler. What am I drinking? I'm drinking life potion. uh, Dragon Bone. Are you using Olama? I do sometimes use Olama. I have Olama. Do I have Olama on this machine? This is a brand new one. No, I do not have Olama installed on this machine, but I do use Olama quite a bit on my other computers. Right now, what we're doing though is a little bit below, I guess, Olama, right? So we're talking about trying to build, evaluate, and train our own model that maybe we could run on Olama. But yeah, Olama is very cool. That's probably the best way to do anything locally right now with LLMs is Olama. It's just so easy, super easy to set up and get running. Yeah, what Suhas said, Dragonbone. Exactly what Suhas said. Dragonbone, did you build that PC? No, I have never built a PC before. I would love to. I've just never done it. This PC is one. I got this one actually not too long ago. Like, I don't know. It's probably only been a month. Here are the specs. It's a HP Elite Mini 800 G9. The best part about it though is it has 64 gigabytes of RAM. It's the most RAM I've ever had in a computer. So I'm loving that. But it doesn't have a GPU or anything like that. It has integrated graphics, but no dedicated GPU. It's just a little mini PC. And I like it. I like it a lot. Nikki, did someone click on that Steam gift card though? Because yeah, that is highly dangerous. I don't think anyone clicked on the stuff that was sent from your accounts in Discord, but someone did screenshot the messages and sent it to me, and we're like, "Hey, Nikki's sending malware to people, other people in the Discord channel." So I don't think anybody got screwed over by your account getting hacked, but who knows? You don't click on suspicious links. That's just, good internet hygiene. What's up, Tolu? How are you? Dragonbone, same. I'm building one now for AI LLM training because of Prime Day prices. Yeah, this computer was it was like on sale on Amazon for like $1,000. It was like normally like a $2,000 mini PC, and it was $1,000. So I picked it up, but I don't think it'd be particularly good for doing LLM training, but building one to do that sounds like it would be a lot of fun. There's so many fun projects to do and just not enough time in the day. Okay. So now we're going to calculate some, I think we're going to calculate the loss now. So if we do text IDX is 0, and we say target probabilities 1 equals probs text 0, 1, 2, and then we do print text 1 target prob 1. And again, I'm not typing any of this code from my own brain. I'm typing it from that book that's off screen. Is that right? Yep, that lines up with what we had in the book. Okay, so now what we need to do... Okay, so next we'll calculate the loss for the probability scores of the 2 example batches. The main steps, since we already applied steps 1 to 3 to attain target probs 1 and target probs 2, we proceed with step 4, applying the logarithm to the probability scores. So we want to do log probabilities equals torch.log. Also, let me center my text here. The way Butterscotch taught me, ZZ in NeoVim centers your text. If you didn't know that. Log probabilities. And then we need to get the average of those probabilities. And then we'll get the negative average which is just going to be average times -1. Oh, I misspelled torch too. Spelling is a very important ability. Or I guess I should say, spelling is a very important skill as a developer. Alright, look at us go. We're calculating probabilities and averages of probabilities. I have no idea what I'm doing. Dragon Bone, noise steals. Yeah, definitely nice deal on the PC I picked up for sure. Hold on. Waiting for Intel to drop its real life of professor? What's that? I'm not familiar with that. Intel real life of professor? What is that? Huh. Google doesn't know what that is either. I think AI graphics cards have very high margins. Well, there's some Nvidia's making some like small AI computers that you can buy, I'm pretty sure. But I think these are pretty expensive. Yeah, I think you're right. They're pretty pricey, some of these computers, some of these dedicated. I mean, graphics cards are expensive. You know, they're just expensive. They have been for quite a while. ZQ will exit the Invim. Oh, I didn't know that. ZQ. What? Huh. That doesn't seem to be a thing for me. ZQ. Oh, capital ZQ. Maybe I need to type ZQ. Oh, Shift ZQ. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, Butterscotch has got all the handy. He has all the Vim skills. What's up, Mr. CEO? Nice username. Nikki, your shoulders look buffed as hell. Well, I did do shoulders today. That was my workout. So that's probably just the residual pump. Suos TTF F up. Oh, Intel's new processors. I see. Yeah, we can all, I mean, who doesn't like Intel dropping some new processors? Oh, so PyTorch, all these steps that I just did here, PyTorch will do these for me using a cross entropy function. So I just need to I need to flatten my logits. And I need to flatten my targets. And then I'm going to print those flat, and then it's flat target shape. Hold on one sec, I got a text message. Wow, 4 years in Vim? Yeah, you're light years ahead of me. Light years. I'm sending it to you right now. Sorry, I just saw your text. What are you doing with my... What? I'll always be that one guy using VS. I don't think there's anything wrong with VS. I don't think there's anything wrong with Visual Studio, and I don't think there's anything wrong with Visual Studio Code. I think in most cases, those are probably better editors to start with, and they probably will take you further in terms of capability. But I think for me, like working with NeoVim has just been a fun thing to do this year, right? And I've been using Visual Studio at the same time as I've been using NeoVim, and I've set up Visual Studio with a lot of the same Vim motions, and that's been wonderful. So I don't know how long I'll use NeoVim for a majority of my like editor experiences, but it's been fun. Hold on one sec. I got to reply to this text because I've been trying to schedule a dentist appointment, and I'm behind on my. Sorry, I'm having trouble doing multiple things at the same time. Okay. VS Code is fine, but I feel like it gets slow when working with large projects. Yeah, I can see that. I have a test automation project that's about it's somewhere nearing like 75,000 lines of code, and I don't notice too big of an issue with it there. But maybe if you get bigger than that, I mean, there's also certain things that like you just like you're not gonna if you're developing in like a enterprise.net type of setup, if you're doing something with like a large .net solution that has like 80 or 90 or 100 projects in it, right? Like, I mean, you might use NeoVim to do like small edits, but like to do serious development in that type of environment, you're going to have to use Visual Studio more than likely. So yeah, I think there are just cases where I just think there's cases where you shouldn't try to fit the tool to the shouldn't try to fit the job to the tool, but instead fit the tool to the job, right? Yeah, everyone has their preferences. Agreed, Nikki. Yeah, you should use the tools you enjoy. As long I say that as long as your boss isn't coming to you and saying you must use this tool, because then, well, you just have to do what your boss says at that point. You're shit out of luck. Okay, I want to get to the point where we're, let's see, loss equals torch dot nn dot functional. Ooh, we're going deep here. Dot cross entropy print. God, my Slack is going crazy. Yeah, see, there's the cross entropy. That's PyTorch's function, and then this is the probability, the negative average probability that I got doing the successive steps. So I think some of the code that they're having me write is more just for illustrative purposes. Like it seems like in real world scenarios, you're just going to use the library code, which makes sense, right? Like you should probably prefer to use battle tested things in this type of a endeavor. Okay, so this is what we call our loss. So that's what we're calling our loss. Next, we will apply the loss computation to the entire training and validation sets. We must first prepare the training and validation data sets that we will use to train the LLM. Oh, this is kind of cool. They have a note in here about I hope Steven doesn't mind my silly jokes. No, I don't mind. I mean, as long as you guys are having a good time. Do your thing. Nikki, yeah, my boss told me we should start working with Cursor, but at least we had to choose. Yeah, actually, so funny story. That'll go on a little bit of a rant for a second. Story time, Steven's story time. Nikki, no, Steven. No, I'm not going to kill anybody. So story time. So, the last couple weeks, last 3 or 4 weeks have been kind of a weird time, and it's primarily why I didn't stream that much, because I was going through a bunch of stuff with work, with the possibility of potentially changing jobs, and in that process, one thing that came up was that the company that I was talking to is on like a big AI initiative. Like they're not hiring junior employees anymore, and they're trying to achieve like a 20 to 30% increase in efficiency through the use of AI. And like they are pushing their developers very heavily to use Cursor or some agentic AI editor. And I'm curious how this is all going to play out, right? Hey Kyler, don't do that, okay? I'm curious how this is all going to play out in terms of companies investing large amounts of money into these AI tools in hopes that they are going to pick up big increases in efficiencies. I just don't know how that's going to play out. Yeah, the whole vibe coding goes enterprise. I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical. Jarak Preet. How are you, bro? Well, I'm good, man. Good to see you again. How are you? Butterscotch. Amazon dropped its own fork of VS Code. I saw that. It's called Kira, right? Kira. Well, that's not what I was looking for. Amazon IDE. Kiro. Sorry. Kiro. I saw this. It's in beta right now, right? You can't get access to it unless you sign up for the beta. But I saw some people posting some YouTube videos and some TikTok videos about it. I think the problem. So I think the problem here is, and I think I've said this before, but so the problem with building an agentic editor when there is a tool like VS Code out there with a company like Microsoft behind it and a pre-existing user base that's enormous, and you're building AI editors that are essentially forks of the underlying technology that VS Code is, I just think you're in a bad position to win. Like I think it makes way more sense to bet on VS Code being the agentic editor of the future than trying to take forks of VS Code and compete with VS Code. because VS Code is already going. They're already moving VS Code towards a cursor or windsurf competitor. And so I'm just not sure this is the right move. Right. Like I wonder how many of these will actually be around in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, because you've got to imagine the amount of money that these companies are spending to power these experiences is astronomical. I mean, they're lighting money on fire, right? And so when you think of like who has the capital and who has the money to be able to stick around long enough, I just wouldn't bet against the VS Code team or Microsoft in this race or this competition. I just wouldn't do it. Drac, which IDE do you use daily? I use VS Code and NeoVim kind of daily, and then I use Visual Studio occasionally, um, sort of more work related use cases. Uh, but for the most part, it's been NeoVim or VS Code, and then for the last 4 years, like prior to January of 2025, it was almost exclusively Visual Studio, or Visual Studio Code, with some dabbling in Visual Studio and Rider. Suhas, I wish the plugin library is supported for every AI editor. What do you mean plugin library? You mean VS Code's plugin library? Suhas, is it possible to fork VS Code and add these features in such a way that it supports the existing plugin platform? I've got to imagine that if you're using a fork of VS Code, a lot of the extensions will probably work. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. I haven't used Cursor. I haven't used Windsurf. Yeah, I haven't used any of those editors. I'm just thinking from a business perspective, like from a pure capital and business perspective. If you had to bet on what the agentic editor of the future is, my bet would be on the VS Code team and Microsoft over any of the other competitors that are currently on the upcome at the moment. I remember getting a chore on Jira saying I have to learn about cursor rules. Yeah, man, I don't know. I just don't know. Like I understand what all these AI companies are trying to do in terms of like they're trying to promise things in terms of efficiency, right? The way for these companies to make money is going to be to sell into enterprises and to get enterprises to buy into these tools and pay lots of money for them. That's going to be the path to profitability for their businesses. I just don't know if that's actually going to play out. I'm not sure I believe that that's actually going to play out in a meaningful way in terms of the businesses actually gaining efficiencies from using these tools. Like I've yet to see somebody demo using any of these agentic editors to do like the day-to-day work of actual developers, which most day-to-day work of actual developers is not writing greenfield projects brand new, right? Most day-to-day editors are building on existing legacy code bases, and I don't see a lot of people showing off how they're using Cursor to do that. That's just one man's thought, right? And so I'm happy to be proved wrong. It's just where my head is at the moment. Jirac Preet, have you used Turbo C++? I have not. I don't write any C++. I've never written any C++, so I haven't used that. Artie, do you do microservices on the cloud, Java and Scala? I don't know any Java. I've never written any Scala. I have not built anything that's like a microservices architecture. Everything I've ever worked on has been kind of my own thing. right? So there's just doesn't make sense to do a microservices architecture for one-man dev projects, in my opinion. Artie, I'm looking at hiring talented young devs. Oh well, if that's what you're looking for, I am not a good candidate. Nor am I really looking for a full-time job. If you have interest in doing contract work or part-time work, I'd be open to talking about that. But it doesn't sound like I have the experience in the stack you're looking for. Can you post the link in the chat? What link are you talking about? I'm happy to share the link, but I don't know what the link is. Excuse me. Oh, I was going to say in this book, so we're using a really small data set for training this model, but this is kind of cool. They actually provide some supplementary data set that consists of more than 60,000 public domain books. That might be a fun project we do after we get through this thing. Try to train on a larger data set. Butterscotch Java, I decline the offer. That's hilarious. Well, yeah, maybe Artie, maybe some other fellas in the chat or ladies in the chat will be interested in what you got going on. There are ups and downs, but I just leave in comments so the guy that reviews my PR, they mostly think I use the AI models. That's wonderful. So so that's going to be the new game that developers have to play, is developers have to appear as if the code that they've written is AI generated. What a meta world we've come to, right? Like, so weird. So weird. Yeah, that'll be the oh goodness, the mouse thing is happening again. I'm gonna have to kill the browser. I'm gonna have to figure out what this issue is I'm having. All right, the music is going away. Oh, it's back, I think. Yeah, I'm back. What was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna say that'll be the most common PR comment of the future will be, was this AI generated? But instead of that being like a negative comment, that's like a positive comment. Like, you need to make sure this code is AI generated. I feel like maybe it would have made more sense for me to do this code in a notebook, but I kind of like being able to do things in like an actual, more of like a proper dev environment. I always feel like notebooks always feel like kind of like toys, which I know is not true, because I know like real data scientists and real probably people who work in this field probably use notebooks quite a bit. Let's see, print the total characters. Oh, yep. that file path doesn't exist. It's in the chapter 2 directory. Did I spell that wrong? Oh, this is what happens when you don't follow the book and you start making changes. And then you try to follow the book again. There we go. Total characters, 20,000. Total tokens, 5,000. Okay. Laugh my ass off. Yeah, man, one of these days we will try to flex how big our LLMs are. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be the new flex as a developer. It'll all be about how well you can orchestrate multiple. Have you seen people on Twitter who have like 10 terminals open and they have open code or Gemini CLI running in every single one, and they're like, "Look at me, I'm orchestrating like an army of AI coders," which I think makes for wonderful content. I think that there's a lot of like bullshit buried in there as far as how effective, right, that really is. All right, now, okay, so now we're going to take our data set and we're going to divide it into a training set and a validation set. All right, so we're going to define a training ratio, which is basically how much of the data we're going to include in the training and then how much we're going to hold back. The other part of the ratio is going to be how much we hold back to validate. So our train ratio is going to be 90%. So we'll say 0.9, and then we will split the index. So we'll say we'll make a new int after we do train ratio times the length of our text data. And it would help if I could spell correctly. I should also center. Okay, so then our train data becomes our text data from the beginning to our split index. And then our validation data is from our split index to the end. All right, now we have to create some data loaders. This goes way back. This goes back to like chapter 2 of the book. We implemented some functions that allow us to load our data. So I'm not going to go through and really talk about that too much. I'm just going to import them. You know how people tend to say people are getting brain rotted with tech? That's how I feel like for the junior devs. Yeah, I just think you have to be careful with, like, I talked about this yesterday, no, the day before, where I just feel like there is some real, you do sacrifice some level of competence when you rely on AI and Copilot and tab completion. There is, I mean, if you have been programming for several weeks, relying very heavily on Copilot, and then somebody takes Copilot away from you, there is some sort of drop off in terms of your productivity, and it takes some amount of time or some amount of lines of code written to ramp you back up to an equivalent or semi-equivalent level of productivity. So I just think you just have to be mindful and careful of, like, what are you trying to accomplish at any given moment and how much you want to leverage AI to accomplish that? On your resume, just say I have AI girlfriend. Yeah, that's fair. Suha Steven, do you think AI is going to be like calculator helping us all more like replacing our intelligence? Like humans will become dumber because of AI? Yeah, I don't know if it's dumber, but yeah, I think it's definitely I think you could have an inflated sense of ability or knowledge because of AI. Yeah, there could be some increased level of Dunning-Kruger syndrome from heavy usage of AI. So yeah, I just think you have to be mindful of that, or using, I heard the Primeagen talk about it, that it's like a trade-off, right? It's like, are you going to leverage AI in the name of being more efficient? That's fine, but the trade-off there is you're probably giving up some level of learning and competency that you would gain if you didn't do that. But then the trade-off there is you probably are not going to be as productive. And that's just, I think there's a decision you have to make, and the decision is largely based on the context you're working in, right? So if you're employed right now by a big company or by any company, there's a large, and you're in engineering, you're in the developer space, there's a large chance that you're going to be pushed to use AI in the name of productivity. And as a developer, I think you need to be aware that that means you're probably going to trade off some opportunities to learn and increase your competence. And so as a developer, you kind of have to work to combat that in some way, shape, or form by making time and spending dedicated time learning and improving your competence without AI necessarily being a part of the equation. Nikki, yeah, not to hate, but I feel like I'm cheating when using AI. Yeah, I think that was a pretty common feeling a lot of people had. And I feel like recently in the last year that has kind of tipped over to now it's like, well, if you're not using AI, then you're somehow like before like a year ago I would say people were shy to admit they were using AI. Now it's like people are incredibly proud to beat their chest and admit they're using AI. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see how it all play out, right? Like, give it 5 years, give it 10 years. I still think there's still a big part of me that wonders if people are going to spend all this time developing tools and skill sets around generative AI and LLMs, and then all of a sudden in 5 or 10 years, there's going to be some new type of model or some new form of AI that makes all of this completely irrelevant. Like all LLMs and all the vibe coding tools and all that stuff is like the prompt engineering, context engineering, that all becomes like, yeah, you don't need it anymore. It's not important because the new model architectures or the new thing we've come out with renders all that useless. Uh, which I think is a very real possibility. I wonder if generative AI isn't the end, is not the, like I wonder if generative AI is just a stepping stone or like a holdover until the next iteration. Which I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be right. Who knows? It's fun to talk about it. It's fun to pontificate about it. All right, let's load our data. Huh? Nikki, yeah, I thought of that too. Like, if you look at AI, it has a lot of work and money needed that the world does not have and cannot afford. Well, I think the biggest bottleneck with all this AI stuff is electricity, right? Power, right? Like, if what Dario Amodei says is that in five, if what he said really becomes the reality, which is in 5 years all code is written by um, generative AI or transformers, these large language models, like the amount of energy that's required to support that type of shift in the world just doesn't exist today. It's just not there. So it's like even if you started today building the infrastructure required to support that, I'm not sure you would get it done in 5 years. So I'm not bearish on AI, but I'm also not bullish on AI, right? I take much more of a measured, like realistic perspective. Isaac, what if you have the knowledge of things to apply in specific areas and use cases, but you use AI to actually generate the code? For instance, for backend optimization, you know the things to apply. Oh no, yes, totally, man. And I would never not, because like I've heard web dev Cody says that he's like really into using Cursor to do a lot of the coding that he's doing, a lot of the projects he's working on. So, and like David Fowler from Microsoft has said he's been blown away by how much more productive he is with agentic tools and AI powered tools. So I think I agree with you. I think that type of a situation is very powerful, right? Like where you know the topic, you know what you're doing, and so you're very capable of directing the AI to do things properly. And if that's how you want to work, I think you should work that way. Um, I think I think the problem right now is just we are awash in AI hype, and that's the real problem, right? It's not that these tools aren't useful. It's not that they aren't don't. It's not that they don't increase productivity. It's just there's a lot of hype around. Like it's kind of like it's like inside all this AI stuff, there is real transformative technology, but there's a lot of bullshit that's also surrounding it, um, and that will eventually move on from that. It'll eventually change. Like, is that a good stance to be in tech? Yeah, I think that's fine. A fine stance to have in tech, Isaac. Yeah, I think that's totally fine. I've said I'm gonna load my data here like 10 times, haven't I? Okay. So we're gonna say train loader is equal to create data loader v1. But I don't remember where that is. I think it's in chapter 2. Or maybe chapter 3? I don't remember. Create data loader. Why is live grep not working? I must be missing some dependency. Probably rip grep. Yeah, it must not be installed. Oops. Oh, so I do have it installed. So it's just not in my path then? It must not be in my path. Yeah, it's not my. It's definitely not my path. Let's see. Let's do a new one. Let's browse. Browse. Where do I need to browse to? So this PC users that's free. Let's see. Winget packages. It says it's installed, but I don't. Oh, there it is. Yep, there it is. Let's see, we gotta copy the path here. New. Okay, and then we're gonna have to restart my. I'm gonna have to restart my shells. See if that fixed it. Rip grep. Nope, that did not fix it. Vision, try Emacs. Well, I just figured out the whole NeoVim thing, so I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna then start all over and go to Emacs. I've chosen a side in that war. Rip grab. Huh? It's still not. It's still not showing up as it's in my path. Sorry, guys. This is not at all what I was hoping to spend the last few minutes of the stream doing, but such is life. Oh, it just goes by RG. Yep, there we go. Okay, so let's try now. Let's try. Why is that not working? Huh. I'm gonna have to debug that off stream. I should have a data loader class here somewhere though, and I don't know where it is. Data loader. Nikki, I have learned a new word today. What is that word? Sammy Adele, RG. Yes, Sammy, you were on it. RG is correct. I don't know why it's not working in NeoVim though. I don't know what I've done. I hate when Winget or Scoop does that. Yeah, agreed. What text editor do you use? I use NeoVim and VS Code. Oh, you're the guy who suggested Emacs. Try / to search in file. Yeah, but I don't want to search in file. I want to search the whole directory. How do I do that? I mean, I guess I can just use it on the command line, can I? I could just do rg create data loader. or create data. I'm not even sure how to use this on the command line. All right, we're gonna have to fall back to code because at the moment, data loader. Do I really not have that in here? How is that possible? Just gonna have to go through file by file. There's no way I haven't implemented those functions. What it I guess I haven't implemented those functions. I don't know. I should have implemented them. I'm not sure why they're not in my Okay, well, I guess I'm not. I guess I'm just crazy. I'm Oh, there it is. Create data loader. There it is. Create data loader v1. Okay, I was like, I know I'm not crazy. So, chapter 2 PyTorch example is where I need to import it from. I thought I was hallucinating like an LLM there for a second. Sam, there's a plugin that TJ made. I can't remember its name. It fuzzy finds in your files. I think that's what I'm using, honestly. I'd have to go look at my NeoVim config, but I think I'm using that. Yeah, telescope. And that's what I think I'm using here, but I'm not sure why it's not doing the grep thing. Maybe it's just this. Maybe it's just the repository I'm in, because I feel like I've used it. What do I want to do? Another program may be editing this file. If this is the case, be careful not to delete the swap file. We want to delete it. Delete it. Oh, lots of errors. Lots of errors. All right, that was a dumb detour I took there. So let's let's get back on track here. Train loader equals create data loader v1, which should come from chapter 2 dot PyTorch example. Import that. Oh, also I need to activate my virtual environment. Yeah, something's off because like even this isn't working. Finding files is not working. So something's up. Okay, create data loader. Train data batch size of 2. The current music is bothering me. The only problem is that in this whole setup is Windows. Everything else is perfect. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, there's a lot of people who get a really big kick out of the fact that I'm on a Windows machine, I'm in PowerShell, and then I'm using NeoVim. I'm not using Vim. I'm using NeoVim, by the way. Timmy's channel. Hi, this is Timmy. What bro doing? Oh, what's up, man? How are you? Hope you're doing well, Timmy. All right, I'm gonna implement these loaders, and then I'm gonna call it, I think, an evening, because we're approaching 6 o'clock here. So max length. Yep. Stride equals GPT config. Drop last equals true. Shuffle equals true. Num workers. Oh my goodness. Num workers equals 0. Okay, now I'll do validation. Validation loader is basically the same exact thing. We're just using a different set of data. Yeah, there's a lot of code I need to implement to calculate why can't I get out of control? Oh. There's a bunch of code that I need to implement to basically do that loss calculation, but do it on a batch. So that's what I think I'll do next. But not today, but next. Then finally, once we can calculate the loss on all those batches, we can actually start training. So we're making progress. We're just moving kind of slow. At a dead. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. A dead Amola Python. Yes, this was Python. I'm not a big Python programmer, but the book that I'm working with is all written in Python. All the code samples are in Python, so that's what I'm doing as a noob. Multi-quadra. What language is? Yeah, it's Python is what I've been working on. Sammy, I'm doing the same and I get the same weird look. Yeah, I mean, it seems like people who run either Mac or Linux feel like they own the usage of NeoVim. Like, so, but yes, you can definitely run NeoVim in PowerShell on a Windows computer. You can for sure do this. Sammy, are you implementing a paper? No, I'm not implementing a paper. I'm actually, I am going through this book. This book is called Build a Large Language Model. It's by a guy named Sebastian Roshka. I don't think I'm saying his name right. This book by Sebastian Roshchaka. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, man. It's not, your name is not the problem. It's my ability to say it that's the problem. But I'm just going through this book and basically reading it, then writing some code, running the code, and just basically trying to build a good mental model of how transformers work and the steps that are involved in building a simple transformer. And then the big takeaway I'm hoping that I can take away from this is that I understand how to do some basic level of fine tuning on open source available models, so then I can do some experimentation of my own. So that's the current state of the union at the moment. He made a book called Graph Machine Learning. I've never heard of that one. Graph Machine Learning. Although I'm new to this area, so there's very few things I... Excuse me. Huh, I can't find it. Yeah, in any event, that's what I'm doing. But I'm done doing that for the evening now. I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to hop off the computer for a little bit and take a break. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, giving me company. Thanks for all the chats. If you guys want to interact off stream, obviously Nightbot has been spamming the Discord link in chat, so that's the best place to find me or anybody else here in the chat off stream. And then obviously, otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next stream, the next video, the next shorts. You know, if you see a short of mine or see a video, leave a comment. We can chat in there. Otherwise, that's going to do it for me. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your Thursday. If it's already Friday for you, I hope you have a good rest of your Friday. And I'll see you guys next time. See you, Butterscotch. Thanks for hanging out again, man. See you, Suhas. Bye, Sammy. Nikki, see ya. Good to have you back, man. All right, y'all. See you guys. Bye. Bye.